Good morning, guys. It is day 46 of Flippin' Live. I'm Andrew from 510 Books, and it is Thursday, June 18th, 2020. Say hi.
Hi.
He probably won't be joining me for that long, but today I wanted to talk about FBA, possibly leaving FBA to do just fulfilled by merchant or merchant fulfilled in eBay, because I saw a post in the Facebook group about this. So let's get started.
Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. We're gonna strive, we're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, we're flippin' live.
Good morning, Brian. Yeah, I changed the one from yesterday to 45, and today is now 46. Hold on one second. So it should be correct now, but I do that sometimes where I don't realize. Let's see. So I changed yesterday to 45, and today should say 46. It does. Okay, all is good. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, no, but yesterday did say 44 instead of 45. You are right. um, yeah, sorry. So before I launch into the topic, yeah, I'll just launch into it, I guess. Well, I don't know. I'm a little out of it today, but I guess I want to see if there's more people that are going to come. But tomorrow I have my sale, believe it or not. Today's Thursday, so tomorrow's Friday. I have my sale tomorrow and Saturday from, from 8 a.m. Wow, to well, I say 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., but often I'm there till like 4 p.m. because people continue to trickle in because of the signs that I have out on the street. So hopefully that works well tomorrow. But I usually try to get there, if not an hour, at least like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I would say 30 to 60 minutes, half an hour to an hour before. So I probably won't be doing a show tomorrow or Saturday. So my next stream will be Sunday. Um, yeah. So anyway, for what that's worth, and it looks like we're not getting too many people on here, unfortunately, but that's okay. Um, so yeah, I will, after today, I will see you guys on Sunday, and I'm sure that will be a show probably about my sales or my warehouse sale, and we can talk about that and can let you know how it went and what I learned and what things I'm going to change and all that type of stuff. Um, I mean, my sale is essentially the same this time, except it's not really the same. I have changed things around. Like I have put the DVDs on all those bookshelves, and they're easier to look through. Majority of them are in one place, and put out more records, and I'm putting out more books. Yesterday I bought another bookshelf. This one's a really big bookshelf, and I had issues with the shelves, so hopefully it works out, and I'll be able to put up I don't know how many more books, but a lot more books. It's a really long, it's a really I guess wide shelf, wider than normal shelf, and it's four shelves, and then the bottom shelf, so five total shelves. So I'll be able to put a lot of books in that bookcase. So that's good. Excuse me. Wow. Um, I also put out all of my I had all my kids books in these boxes, and this time they're all on shelves because I moved the DVDs to the other side of the room. So hopefully, because they're out and more prominently displayed, they'll do better. Although I have not tapped into the kid book buying market, which is mostly going to be moms with their kids. I mean, dads as well, but mostly going to be the moms. I haven't tapped into that at all, or the teacher community. We are putting our kids in a new school for this next year, whatever this next school year looks like for us and everybody else, whether they're actually going to go to the school or split time between the school and working at home, or homeschooling, or doing it through Zoom. Hopefully, they're able to go into the school at least half the time. But anyway, we're starting them at a new school, and my son's starting kindergarten, so he's officially starting his 13 years of school next school year. So anyway, my point was that we have met the principal, and we have a good relationship with her. So, and she's very, very involved with, of course, the teachers, but also she knows a lot of the parents of the kids. So we might end up having a good opportunity there with her to spread the word about my sale, and she can tell other people. She could be a really good resource. So anyway, that's a big side note there. I see more people have shown up, which is great. Brian says, I predict your sale is going to be huge. I hope so. Bring a large bottle of sanitizer. Your customers will appreciate. Yeah, I do have a bottle of sanitizer that I will have out. And I have required masks. Hopefully people, well, I mean, I'll just say that a mask is required. In general, when you go into a retail space here. Wow. Excuse me. The majority of people are wearing face masks because most stores are requiring it, but there are always a few people who are not wearing one. But my space is not that big, so if there are even like 5-6 people that show up at the same time, it can be a little bit tight quarters. Just because of, it's not a big retail space. So I'm sure, but people, as long as they have their mask on, it should be fine. I'm sure there will be some people that will wear gloves because, everyone's going to be touching everything. But that's why I have the hand sanitizer, so they can, sanitize their hands before and after, during, whatever. So we'll see how that goes with the sale. I hope, because it's been 3 months, that a lot of people show up. I'm sure this first sale will not be indicative of, ongoing sales, the next 6 sales or whatever, just because this is the first one in 3 months. So it's likely that of the people that follow me, or that were going before consistently, will probably show up, and the people that follow me on Facebook, some of them will probably come as well. But who knows? We'll talk about that on Sunday. So I see we have a few more people here, which is great. I want to talk about, I did a stream. I looked at my notes here. I did a stream back on what day was it? No, it's here somewhere. There it is. Day 24, which I titled, Should You Do FBA or Merchant Fulfilled? And then I went through all of advantages and disadvantages of both. Went into great detail about it. And I saw a Facebook post. I just saw it this morning from one of Terry, the guy who watches the show here pretty regularly, who resells books, one man operation, and was talking about moving out of FBA and into Fulfilled by Merchant, and got a lot of responses in the Facebook group about the question, because I know it's something that a lot of people consider, especially with the potential issues of potential issues with Amazon in general, but also with FBA as a seller, as a third party seller. Um, and what did he say? He says he's been considering switching over to fulfilled by merchant or merchant fulfilled. Um, and his questions were, what's the best way to transition? Especially concerning books already at Amazon warehouses. Also, if you're one person show with no one to help them, how do you ever get away from the business? I'd be able to go anywhere and not be home when orders come in that must be shipped right away. Also, would dealing with customers' questions, customer issues be just as frustrating as deal with Amazon's never-ending glitches? And lastly, how do you ever decide how to ship what and what the best shipping parameters are? Well, so those are his concerns and questions, and we'll see if Terry comes on here. He might not come on today live, but I'm sure he'll watch it later on. I mean, he says also that he's been having, for some reason here lately, probably because of all the recent shipping issues I've experienced with FBA, I've been considering switching over to fulfilled by merchant. I mean, so since I started doing FBA, I've always had issues with it, right? There's always been issues whether Amazon just changes things dramatically suddenly with the fees or with their way that they are doing business. Excuse me. Oh man, sorry. So this is one of the downsides of doing a show early in the morning. Is I just woke up. So I've always had issues with FBA, and there always will be issues with FBA. It's just the way that Amazon does things. They like to suddenly make dramatic changes out of nowhere. Sometimes they don't even tell us, and then we just start noticing as we're setting things in that things have changed, or they let us know that there will be a fee changes or a change to the structure of the fees, or that long-term storage fees will be changed. From where before you didn't have to pay them as a bookseller, because it would apply only if you had more than one SKU of the same SKU. If you just had one copy of one SKU, then you wouldn't get hit with long-term storage fees. For newer sellers, that's how it, if you didn't realize that, that's how it used to be about 3+ years ago. So if you had 5,000 individual books in Amazon, you wouldn't get hit with any long-term storage fees. You'd have to pay your monthly storage fee, but that was very, very small. But once they were there for a year, for other sellers who sell other outside, or it doesn't matter, but mostly non-media sellers who sell like quantities more than higher quantities of one single SKU. So they might have 20, 30, 50 of one SKU in the warehouse. They'd have to pay long-term storage fees on anything over that one SKU after it was there for a year or more, 365 days or more. But then they switched it to where everybody had to pay a long-term storage fee after a year, which is where it currently is now. And that changed the game a lot for book and media resellers who were focusing on just one SKU at a time, but having a huge inventory of individual SKUs or ASINs. And they had to reconsider whether it was worth it to send in those long tail items that they were like, used to be like, oh, just send it in. If it doesn't sell after a year, well, whatever, just leave it there, and it eventually will sell, or it won't sell, and then you can just get rid of it 2 years later, or just forget about it. But then it changed to where you had to consider your long tails had to actually sell within a year, or you'd have to get rid of it. But that's just one example of how Amazon would suddenly make a big change. And they did tell us about that ahead of time, but that was a huge business shift that you had to make, and consideration you had to make as a book and media seller who, like I said, I had as many as 2,700 items at my peak FBA career, and now I have less than 1,000. And there's a lot of things I won't send in to FBA that I would have sent in years ago because of that reason. So that's one example of something that changed suddenly by Amazon, and there's always issues here and there with FBA specifically. Let's see. Brenda says, I only do FBM because Amazon does not provide discount shipping from Hawaii to other warehouses, and shipping from Hawaii is expensive. Okay, well, that's a different type of situation, but that makes sense. AMM Media, good morning. I bought over 70 plus large Home Depot boxes of books from an old teacher. Wow. She had a shed built for her collection. I've sold many books, including a $560 Alcoholic Anonymous books. Yeah, so you've sold. So A&M Media, is that, are you focusing on FBA for those books? Or do you do any fulfilled by merchant or any eBay? I'd be curious to know. But that's a great haul. Whoops, sorry. What I meant to do was this. So yeah, so I understand it, how Terry feels and how a lot of people feel about doing, about the issues with Amazon in general and with FBA. And some of the advantages of FBA, which I talked about in that other stream, as you know, is the main benefits are that Amazon stores your items, Amazon ships your items, and Amazon deals for the most part with returns and refunds. So it's out of your hands and they have to deal with it, which is good and bad. Of course, there's a Prime bump, which is still there because I still take advantage of it. If there's a $6 merchant fulfilled book, or let's say $8 merchant fulfilled book, the lowest price, but then you can sell yours for $15 and people will buy it. So, that still exists. They have, the huge storage capacity. So when you first start, I think you have a limited storage limit, but over time that can increase. Mine is, because I've been doing this had my FBA account for almost 6 years, been selling on Amazon for almost 6 years. My storage capacity is pretty high. I don't remember what it was, but off the top of my head, but it's pretty, I could have thousands of books easily there. So you can potentially store thousands of books. It's potentially unlimited, so to speak, but depends on how big you want to grow it. And disposals and returns, right? So after your books have been there for a while and haven't sold, certain percentage won't sell for a variety of reasons. You can always have them disposed of. Either Amazon takes possession of them and they're disposed of, or they're returned to you, and you have to pay 15 cents or 50 cents, right? Depending on if you want the book back or you don't want to ever see the book again, and Amazon will take it out of your hands. It won't be your responsibility anymore. And then the huge one for me is less time spent on the business after your items are shipped to Amazon, to an Amazon warehouse. So once you have, you source the items, you list them, and then you pack them up and ship them to Amazon. And then once they're gone, you are essentially done with those books, except you just have to deal with repricing and disposing of the books, which is further down the road. And so both of those things can be pretty much automated. So that is, for me, the biggest thing about FBA. And also, which I didn't add here, I don't think, is there's just a lot of books that I scan with talking about the books that I actually do scan, that I cannot sell for, where the merchant fulfilled price is too low for me to sell at merchant fulfilled. And so it makes more sense FBA. There's enough profit there. So just right now, for instance, I am soliciting book donations through my Facebook video ad, which I've been running. I have it up and running now for it's been almost 2 weeks now. Is it 2 weeks? I don't know. A little over a week. And before that, I ran it for a month in May and a little bit into June, and I had great results. And I'm getting good results again this time, even though thrift stores have opened. But anyway, that's a side note. So my point is, though, that I'm getting books. Like this week, I had 2 donations on, was it Monday? And then so yesterday I had one more other. So I've had three this week so far. And out of all of those books, I've been able to pull, let's see, I sent out 31 books to FBA yesterday. I dropped those off. And then yesterday, from the ones that I got, I found one, two, three, four books for FBA. It was not a very good donation yesterday in terms of books I could resell online. But that's okay. You have to take the good with the bad, or the bad with the good, I guess. And then there's another book here that I missed from my other pickup donations on Monday. But anyway, so I have a couple books here, 5 books that I'm ready to send out, but I just need more to send them out. But my point is that through all those books, I had 31 for FBA and only one for merchant fulfilled, which I need to list. Where did that book go? Oh, it's over there. So this is the book. This one made more sense for merchant fulfilled, which I need to list. Just sitting here. John Ireland and the American, what is it? Oh, Catholic Church. So this one I'm going to list for, I don't know, 11, 12 bucks. It made more sense for merchant fulfilled. But the rest of those, there were a few of those 31 that may have been, I might have been able to sell fulfilled by merchant or merchant fulfilled. But by and large, they were better for FBA. And, you know, personally for me, the huge advantage is, like I said, is, you know, on the advantages for FBA is that even if an item can be profitable fulfilled by merchant, I would rather just send it into FBA if there's profit there as well, as long as the profit is not, it's hardly ever the case where it's almost never the case where the merchant fulfilled price is higher than the FBA price. You know, if that's the case, I'll probably, I don't know, I might do fulfilled by merchant, but I prefer just to get them out of here and have Amazon sell them FBA, and then I don't have to deal with them anymore. And I don't need to store them and ship them myself. So, but that's just a huge advantage for me. So Brian, it might be worth cross posting any MF item on Amazon to Mercari, since neither have insertion fees. You would just need to delist on the other platform as soon as the item sells. Yeah, and I think AccelerList now they have a function where you can cross list. You have to pay more for it, but cross list Amazon or on eBay. So you could list at eBay and merchant fulfilled. And then apparently, from what I understand, they will, if it sells on eBay, let's say, and it's listed on merchant fulfilled at the same time, they will then take it off of merchant fulfilled for you. I believe that's one of the main benefits of using their service. So anyway, which makes sense, right? Because why do you want to hassle with taking it off if they'll do it automatically for you? And then Ira asked, how do you resell books online? That's a big question, Ira. Are you a reseller at all? So are you a reseller at all? And are you selling books at all? Or are you not a reseller? I mean, I don't know what you mean exactly. Do you mean on Amazon, on eBay? Could you be more specific? I mean, yeah, because that's a big question. How? Well, there's a lot to that. Okay, so then, okay, so, you know, the idea of, I try to think of my business and I try to think, well, I'm doing everything by myself. I have not yet hired somebody. I predict that I will at some point. You know, especially with the potentially taking over that bookstore, I will have to hire somebody, and that will probably force me to go down that path. I mean, which I want to go down. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet on it. But my point is that I still, like Terry, I do everything on my own. I don't have any help. So I when I get items, I have to scan them, and then I have to list them on Amazon, and I have to ship them out. And then when things, I have to list them on eBay, and when they sell, I need to ship them out on eBay. So all of that I do on my own. Excuse me. So I forgot my point was with that, but what I would do. Oh right, I try to consider I tried for a second to consider the idea of giving up FBA, and I can't imagine doing that, regardless of the hassles that they give, regardless of the higher return rate, regardless of them potentially damaging or losing a book or mini books in the warehouse, or even potentially losing a shipment or claiming that they lost the shipment. In all the years that I've been using FBA, one time that I remember that they said they had lost a shipment, and then I had to wait 30 days, and then they suddenly found it, and everything, all the books went live and they scanned in. So I guess the box was just sitting somewhere in the corner of the warehouse, or someone had, I don't know, hid it somewhere, stashed it away, and they didn't know. Excuse me, one second. They didn't know where it was, and then they found it. It was a miracle, and they scanned everything in. Now I've had shipments, boxes of books and media just sit around. It gets to the warehouse, and then a few days pass, a week passes, a few weeks, and I have to contact them, and they say, "Well, give it 30 days." And then suddenly, after I call, they find it. It's very strange. But I don't remember having a box completely lost, a shipment of books or media completely lost and never found. I have had items lost or damaged many times, individual items in the warehouse over the years. That's happened. But by and large, a very high percentage of the items I send in, they are received by the warehouse. They are scanned in, which means then they go live, and then they're sold. A percentage, I would say 10 to 20%, probably closer to 20%, end up not selling on Amazon because the price tanks. There's too many other offers. The demand goes down, and the supply is too high. So those types of market factors, or just other sellers that don't want to make money and they undercut everybody else. But that's a whole nother scenario, right? That's just part of it, how it goes on Amazon. But in terms of entire shipments being lost, or books being lost or damaged at Amazon, I haven't had that happen enough to where I would even consider for a second giving up FBA. There's too much opportunity there with FBA, and too many books that I find that I don't want to list fulfilled by merchant, and won't sell for any money on eBay. I mean, what do you do with those books, those 31 books that I shipped in, and none of them will sell for good money on eBay? So you just say, just because of some of the headaches with FBA, I'm not going to do it. To me, that makes no sense. And even makes less sense when you're doing everything on your own, because then you have to work harder to find other books to sell on eBay and other books to sell on fulfilled by merchant. And now some of those FBA worthy books might be profitable enough to do merchant fulfilled, but I'd rather just send them in and be done with it, and not have to deal with storing and shipping them myself. Oh, what is the lowest profit you're willing to take from FBA? Iris says. I usually, so typically it's about $2 to $4. So I try to get at least $2 or $3. But here's the thing though, with me right now, I'm really loving FBA because I love just setting them off and not having to hassle with them. So even if it's only going to make $2.50 profit, it's all being done automatically for me once it's out of my hands, once it's shipped out and gone to a warehouse, that I'm okay with just making a couple bucks. Especially if it's a book that I can't sell for any money on eBay. I know that if I'm not even going to bother looking it up on eBay, because it's not, it's just not going to, it's not going to go for any good money on eBay. So I won't even bother with that. So yeah, it makes more sense for me, even though it's only a couple bucks. Let me look something up here. for me to just do it on Amazon versus versus bothering to look it up on eBay. Oh, Iris says sells. Okay, I just wanted to know, where do you resell your unwanted books, or just a few dollars? Like, okay. Thank you, Ira, for clarifying. Um, so yeah, I will usually take a couple. I mean, I will usually be okay with a few bucks profit on FBA, especially for books that I can't turn around. I can't sell on Amazon. I mean, on eBay or anywhere else individually. Even if it's only a couple bucks. I mean, if I'm getting it, right now I'm getting them donated and I'm paying for the advertising. But if I send a bunch of books in for a couple bucks each, it adds up and it puts me in the profit. Um, you know, considering I'm not paying that much to get the books, the donations. I sell on Amazon FBA. I just wanted to know, where do you resell your unwanted books, or just a few dollars, like 50 cents and up? Well, I won't do 50 cents profit, but I'll do at least a couple bucks. Those books, so for me, if I can't, so here's how it goes, right? So there's kind of like the flow chart where I get some books donated to me, let's say, and I got a couple boxes. Like I had 5 boxes this, was it Monday, Tuesday? It doesn't matter, this week, from one donation, which was great. And it ended up that about half of them had barcodes and half of them didn't. So the ones with barcodes, I go through and I scan for FBA or merchant fulfilled. So I have my app and I'm scanning Scoutly app and I'm using my scanner. And then if I have at least a couple bucks profit for FBA, and it's not selling for more money merchant fulfilled, I'll just do FBA. Occasionally though, I might do FBA, but if it's only $1 more, I mean, I might do merchant fulfilled, but if it's only like $1 more, I'd rather just send it in, get a little bit less FBA, and be done with the book, because I'm really big on just getting books out of my life to FBA and just have that money come in, those sales come in the future, in the near and in the future, basically. And build up that inventory. And then, so like you asking, the books that are, might yield 50 cents or $1 profit, I have to decide then, can I sell it merchant fulfilled, which I decide on using the app really quickly. And if I can't, then the next place it goes is, can I sell it on eBay individually? And mostly I can't. And I, over time, have figured out, most of the books that I'm don't sell for money on Amazon, unless it's a very unique book or a collectible book. It's probably not going to go for money, any profit on eBay individually as well. So if that's the case, because if a book is gonna be potentially valuable on eBay, I probably won't even look it up on Amazon, because it's more of an older book, a collectible book, one that is a specific niche, and if it doesn't have a barcode, and especially if it doesn't have an ISBN, then it's much older and it might make more sense on eBay. But then again, after I look it up, it still might not be worth it on eBay. So it goes Amazon, it goes FBA, fulfilled by merchant, eBay individually, and then a lot on eBay, a book lot. So if it's a very general book, it's not going to make sense in a book lot. So then my last place to go, so there's two, this is not true. So FBA, merchant fulfilled, and then I'm testing out this buyback app called Piggy Book, which is from Discover Books, and I'm scanning in some books there. I have to turn this down. Hold on, so I can show you. So this one, basically, they buy your books back. Display. Wow. So it's just a simple app, right? And you just put it under the barcode under your phone scanner, and then it'll just scan the barcode and let you know automatically. So far I have $17.79 off of 26 items that they have that have been accepted in. And that's after scanning a lot of books. So basically it's FBA, merchant fulfilled, and then the Piggy Book one. I'll go through all the ones with barcodes and see if they'll accept them. As you see, $17 for 26 books, so it's less than $1 a book. But again, these are books that I can't sell individually on Amazon and nor on eBay. So after that, it's eBay individually, and then do I put it in a book lot? Well, only if it's really a really nichey book that I found more than one of. If it's just like cooking or recipes, unless it's really specific, unless it's like 5 books about diet cooking for diabetes or whatever, then I might put it in a book lot. And then the last place it goes to my local sale. So I have to say, which I decide in the moment, but I say, well, is this one that would make sense in my local sale? And I'm still testing it out to see what people are going to buy, but I will put out a wide variety of books for my local sale, which I have tomorrow, my first one in 3 months, tomorrow and Saturday. So I barely tapped into the book buyers, but I think if I get a lot of book buyers to show up at my sale, that a lot of these books I can sell during my sale, because I'm $2 for a paperback and $3 for a hardcover. So that's where my workflow is, from FBA all the way to my local sale. And then if I don't feel that it'll sell in my local sale, and I can't get any money for it online, or that piggy book one rejects it, buyback site, then I'm going to donate it. So I have like 4 boxes now of books that I'm going to donate to I'm going to drop off at certain little free libraries. And that's about it. And some of the books that I get are trashed, so I just toss those, because they're in bad shape, which happens a lot. Pat, if you do end up with a bookstore employee, any plans of having them list on eBay? Yes. The first thing, okay, if you're talking about the bookstore, maybe. My warehouse, absolutely. In the bookstore, I've thought about it. I've thought about them. Because there's a workstation I can set up. There's a room in the back of the bookstore that I was thinking about having be a listing station. So potentially, they can be working in the bookstore, and then I could have some books in the back that they could list on eBay, let's say, and they could just have the door open, and then so we can maybe put a bell on the door or something, or that it buzzes or whatever, so that they know when someone comes in. Although I don't know if we just have the door open, or probably have it closed. But anyway, and so then they could jump out, to help them if they need help. So yeah, I've thought about that. Also, I've thought about, setting that station up, and they could be working in the front and I could be working in the back, but I don't really know yet how that would work. But I've thought about doing that as well, to have them list some books online for me. Brian says, if they are small items, even $2 profit is nice, because monthly storage fees might be only 4 to 8 cents. Absolutely. Yeah, it's not very much for a book that you can make a couple bucks off of. And again, it's the thing about FBA. It's a semi-passive income. You do it's front-loaded work, right? So you do the sourcing. So if you're going out there to various traditional sourcing avenues like thrift stores, garage sales, yard sales, estate sales, not now for library book sales, but once that ramps back up, or you're buying locally through Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, OfferUp, Nextdoor, Let Go, and you're finding books and then bringing them into your house and scanning them. Whichever way you're doing, you're having to front load that effort and that time. So you source and you go home, you scan them in, list them, and then you ship them out. But then once you're done with that, it becomes sort of a semi-passive income. And, and that's what I don't understand why people wouldn't want that, or even with a few headaches. Even sometimes it might feel sometimes like, oh my gosh, Amazon's conspiring against me. Look how many returns I've got. Look at this shipment was lost and now they found it, or then they lost 10 books this month and they reimbursed me nothing for them, and I have to fight them on each one. But look at your whole, how many items have you sent in the last 6 months? What percentage of them have been lost, damaged, returned? I mean, what's the percentage? Is it like, if it's like 50%, which I can't believe it is, then, why would you not do FBA? I don't know. Regardless of some of the headaches, even if it's like 30% is lost, stolen, returned, that's still 70% of the books that are selling. And you're not having to do anything else with that. You just send them in and you're done. So for me, I couldn't imagine giving it up, even with doing a local sale in my warehouse one time a month, which requires a certain level of effort and energy and focus to maintain and to market and all that stuff. If I didn't have FBA, I couldn't imagine, how that would work, or it would be too much work, because just having that running in the background and having those sales come in, and I keep sending in more items as I get them, especially if I start running this bookstore and people will inevitably donate books or do trade-ins or whatever, I will get profitable books that make more sense online than selling them even in the bookstore. So anyway, so that, to me, it makes sense. How much, Brenda? How much does it cost you to send a 50-pound box into Amazon? Let's see. Where do I have it? eBay. Well, here's the thing, Brenda, is most of my items are sent locally. I'm trying to think how much that books. Okay, so most of my items go, whoopsie. Most of my books or items that I send into Amazon go to a local warehouse. So I do not pay very much, even if it's a 40-pound box. However, if it were to go across the country, that would be a different scenario. But currently, I'm not paying much. I sent in 48 books to my local warehouse on June 5th, and the inbound shipping cost was $8.21 for 48 books. So that was less than 50 pounds, but I think that was still pretty heavy. I think it was around 40 pounds or so. So 50 pounds might be $9 or something like that, which is, nothing compared to how much potential profit I can make off the books. Again, though, in the past, when they were doing a lot of split shipments, Amazon was doing, that's one of the things that ran out a lot of people from FBA to fulfilled by merchant and eBay, is they were, instead of getting their items sent to one warehouse altogether, they were getting like 5 or 6 different warehouses. Amazon seems to have dealt with that issue and realized that it was causing a lot of problems for third-party sellers, including losing third-party sellers to eBay, or just giving up the book business, reselling business altogether because of that. So for me, it's not very expensive, but I have in the past had to ship to the East Coast, and that's when it became more expensive if it was a heavy box. But even so, the prices are really low. That's like very much discounted UPS rates, media mail rates. So even if I had to send a 40-pound box to New York or Florida or something like that, it's probably not going to be much more than, I don't know, probably less than $20, I would assume. Because I have a chart here going back. Let's see. Books and CDs. The most that I ever paid, but that doesn't, that's CDs. This is a chart going where I've been tracking my costs of inbound shipping, and the highest price I have here, I've got $22 for 168 items, which was probably CDs. I have, here, I'll show you, see what I'm looking at. See, this is, the date, the cost, how much for the box to send in, and how many items. And as you can see, here's one for $20.64, 152 items. That was probably all CDs, maybe some audiobooks. Here's $20.64. for 134 items. But again, these were probably these were going to further warehouses, not ones nearby. $22 for 168 items. So not much more than $20 even to go across the country. Here's one. Here's the most expensive. Here's one. $23.73. That was probably some books in there. That's why it was probably that expensive. So yeah, it's not that expensive even to go across the country to ship items to FBA. Ira, I found a company that sells gaylords of books. They also said that they offer FBA pallets, and books just for merchant fulfill. The cost is $2,500 and up. They also claim they spend time to separate. Huh. They offer FBA pallets. What does that mean? What does that mean, FBA pallets? So a whole pallet of books that are good for sale on FBA. Is that what that means? Or for merchant fulfilled? So let me know so does that mean that they pre-scan them and then those are ones that are profitable for FBA or for merchant fulfilled? Because $2,500. So how many, and are they stacking them in the Gaylord, or are they just haphazardly throwing them in there? If they're stacking them, there's going to be way more books in there versus if they are, normally how FBA Gaylords of books will go is that they're just tossed in there. And so you get about 800 to 1,000 books. But if they're stacking them up neatly, you're going to get more books. So it might be worth it. But that's, excuse me. Yeah. That's an interesting idea because if you spend $2,500 on a pallet of books that all the books are good for FBA or merchant fulfilled, and if you can turn around and double or triple your money, even though it's a lot of money to put out initially, over time you can recoup that money and then some and start making profit. So I've never heard of that before, but if it's legit and if you order from them or if you have ordered from them, you should do a test run though. Are they going to deliver the books to you? Are they going to ship them? Are they nearby? How does that work? Yeah, they pre-scan all the books. That's so weird that they wouldn't just sell online themselves, but everyone has a different business model. Yeah, I'd try it out, I guess. Give it a shot. I don't know if they have a minimum order or what, but I wouldn't buy a bunch at a time. I would try 1 or 2 Gaylords and see how that goes, and see what kind of profit you can get. Because that's a crazy idea to get a pallet of books that they're all stacked up neatly, and then each one you pull out and scan, oh, they all go to FBA or merchant fulfilled. So that's convenient, that you don't have to deal with duds. That's the big one. All the books you can sell on Amazon, $2,500 and up. So I don't know how many books. Let's see here. I don't know how many books. Do they tell you how many books are going to be in a Gaylord? Because I would say, let's say there's 800 books. Let's say the profit is $5 each. That's $4,000 profit. But there's going to be books probably that are going to be going for more. I guess my other question would be, if they are pre-scanning them, are they pulling any of them for themselves? So are all of the books, so are the profit ranges all over the place? Like they've got $3 profit books and then they've got $40 profit books mixed in there, like textbooks or more rare, whatever, it may be type of books. I would ask them that question too. Or are they only putting in the $5 to $10 profit books, which means you would still make a profit. I mean, even if you average it out, the profit was $7 per book. For 800 books, it'd be $5,600. So I don't know. You have to outlay a lot of cash up front, though. Let's see. So, okay. If they're pulling no books for themselves, and I would just test it out, give it a shot, see what happens. Buy the FBA pallet so you can just ship it out and then see what happens. Yeah. back to the topic of dropping FBA for merchant fulfilled and eBay is I would do a test run on multiple sourcing trips and see what the results are. If I were to go to a thrift store right now and spend 2 to 3 hours there scanning books, I can almost guarantee you that I would find way more FBA worthy books than merchant fulfilled books. So I'm sitting there, let's say I'm sitting there, I'm doing an experiment and I have 20 FBA books and then 8 merchant fulfilled books. Well, just because FBA is sometimes a headache with Amazon, are you going to give up those 20 books and maybe pull a couple that you can sell for merchant fulfilled and put them over in this stack and then only have the merchant fulfilled just because you don't want to deal with the FBA headaches? Or are you going to do both? Especially if you're limited, right, in the amount of space you have to store books for FBM, and you're a one-person show, right? You're a one-man or woman business, solopreneur, so to speak. Why not just take all, let's say, 28 of those books, take them home, ship in the 20 books to FBA, list the merchant fulfilled books, FBM, and then keep it moving, right? What about eBay? Well, what if you go to a thrift store? How many books are you going to find for eBay? First of all, it's a learning curve. That's fine. You have to learn. But if you don't know what sells on eBay, out of those 28 books in this example, what percentage of those will sell on eBay individually for profit? I'm willing to bet hardly any of them. That would be my guess. You'd be lucky probably to find any of them that would sell for good money. Here's an example, right? This book, right? John Ireland and the American Catholic Church, right? Nice hardcover book that I found that I got from a donation. I'm going to list this for $11, merchant fulfilled. I don't remember here. I will just so you guys can see and so that I can remember. I'm going to type in the ISBN into Scoutly. 087 351 2308. Right. So look at this. 5 sales in the last 6 months, which is fine. The current rank is 2 million. The rolling 12-month rank is 1.7 million. So it's a higher ranked book. This is a long tail. There's one FBA offer for $16.99, and then there's 12 merchant fulfilled offers, but those merchant fulfilled offers are higher. So if you sell it for that, well, hold on a second. So the merchant fulfilled profit, see that when I select 1647 is $8.86. So there's more profit in this for merchant fulfilled than for FBA. The FBA one is 717, right? So this one I'm going to do merchant fulfilled because it's too long tail and there's already an FBA offer. So I don't want to compete against that FBA offer. I'll just do a merchant fulfilled one, be the lowest price, and have it run the Amazon repricer where I match the lowest merchant fulfilled price and hopefully get a sale on that someday. But know that this is probably going to be a long tail book. Now, let me show my screen here. I looked up this book on eBay. So this is a book you can make like $8 on currently where the prices are with merchant fulfilled on Amazon. So look it up on eBay. Here it is, right? So John Ireland and the American Catholic. Here, I'll just put church. So here we go. We got 7 current offers, right? Which are good prices. So $29 for new, used $16.41, which is right around where the merchant fulfilled offer is. What do we got here? Brand new $33. There's one with no photo, $29. This one's $17.50 plus shipping. There's a couple international ones here. You can get it from the UK for apparently $4. But anyway, those are outside of the States. So sold items, how many times has it sold in the last 3 months? 0 times. How many times with Amazon? 5 times in the last 6 months. So now let me let me look up. Oh boy, where is it? With Terapeak and see if. Hold on. Okay, so Terapeak will show me the last 12 months of sales for this book. And let's see how many times it's sold. So here it is. I will show you. In the last 12 months, I looked up John Ireland and the American Catholic Church, right? All categories, the last 365 days. Look how many times it sold. Zero. 0 times on eBay. So if you're outsourcing at a thrift store and you can get this for $1 or whatever, and you look up, you see this, you see these stats here on Scoutly or on your app, and you say, oh, well, let's see, paying $1, sell it merchant fulfilled, I'll make $7.86, right? If you spend $1. If you spend $2, well, you'd make $6.86. You'd still make, whoa, that changed. Hold on. You'd still make $6.86, right? Even if you spent $2 on it. So that's still a decent profit. You'd have to consider whether it makes sense for you or not. But however, that book is just one example, of course. That book makes more sense merchant fulfilled than FBA, and it makes no sense on eBay. That's a book maybe I could sell at my local bookstore, but it's pretty niche, so maybe somebody would buy it, maybe not. But if you don't have all that going on, then that's your only option. A buyback site will probably not buy it. I think they only do barcodes, although some might do type-ins. But what do? Do you just leave that book because you're not doing well? If you're doing merchant filled, it makes sense. But if you're doing switching to eBay, it's not a book that you can sell on eBay for any profit. So anyway, that's something to consider. What have you found the turnover percentage to be on fulfilled by merchant? Do you mean turnover? Oh, right. Sorry. So what percentage that I'm selling? Very low. Now, I have less than 300 books fulfilled by merchant right now versus I think I have 800 or more FBA. So it's an unfair comparison. I don't have the same amount. If I had more books listed or items listed for merchant fulfilled, then I would sell more. So I can't really do apples to apples comparison, unfortunately. But I have had a higher merchant fulfilled. Actually, not that much higher. I've had probably high 300s. I've never had 500, 800 items listed on merchant fulfilled. So I don't know how many I would need to get consistent daily sales. I do get daily sales on FBA. Yesterday I had, I don't know exactly how many. Oh, I had 5, I think 5 sales on FBA. And the day before I had a good amount. The day before that I had a good amount. And then I think it was Sunday was slow. Saturday was good. Friday was good. So I get consistent FBA sales every day, but merchant fulfilled I do not. It's hit or miss, and I have a majority of my merchant fulfilled items repricing through the Amazon repricer to match the lowest merchant fulfilled offer, and I have a floor on all of them, and a ceiling but a floor so that they don't go too low and I lose money. And even with that in place, I got a sale this week. I've had, what is it, maybe 2 or 3 since Monday or since the weekend, versus every day I'm having multiple FBA sales. So again, I'm not saying that you can't get a lot of daily sales with merchant fulfilled. You just have to increase your inventory. However, something to consider too, which I think I talked about in that previous stream, is that the sell-through rate is smaller or is lower because you're competing with a lot of mega sellers and a lot of aggressive repricing. Not that FBA cannot get aggressive with the repricing, but especially merchant fulfilled is its majority big sellers. So people that have warehouses, employees, and are undercutting your price And I don't even mean just the biggest sellers out there, like the thrift books and the Goodwills and that type of stuff, who have huge operations, but even just mid-size big sellers that might have, tens of thousands of items listed versus hundreds of thousands for other mega sellers, that you're going to have to compete with them, and you might beat them here and there, but they're going to be undercutting you all the way down to the very bottom to where they'll only make a couple bucks, and you won't be able to compete with that because you don't have as low shipping cost as they do, because they ship out so many books on a daily basis. Competing with someone that ships out several hundred books a day or thousands of books a day is tough. Whereas a lot of FBA sellers are not big time sellers. And it's the prime bump too. You get the prime bump as well. So, that's the things that I would consider, if you're like Terry, or if you're in the position where you're considering moving from FBA because of all the issues to Fulfilled by Merchant and or eBay, is it's going to be harder to find as many books for those two channels that you can for FBA. Now, the better you get at spotting books for eBay, the more you'll find, but it's also a more laborious task. It takes more time. eBay does not have the data that Amazon has. Their app is decent, right? But if you have your eBay app, you can look up if an item is sold recently for how much, but it'll only show you 3 months back. You have to get on your computer. I don't think you can do it on your phone with Terapeak for the last 12 months. And it's still not nearly as good the data as an Amazon app has. So, but there are a lot of people that have moved more of their inventory to merchant fulfilled and opened up eBay. There's someone here in the chat that talked about, not the chat, in the Facebook group that talked about. It says, I'd rather have eBay as an alternative to which I could pivot if things went south. Things went south with Amazon. I'm currently running an inventory of 1,000 eBay listings, and I'm down to about 1,500 FBA listings, but I've been making about 4 times the income on eBay that I make on Amazon over the last 4 months. Now, of course, again, consider that number with the reality of quarantine and a lot of people being at home, and especially last half of March, all of April, all of May, 2 big months of people spending a lot of money online, buying a lot of items, especially on eBay. We all know that eBay sales went up a lot because of that. So take that with a grain of salt. So, and he says 1,000 eBay listings seems to be the sweet spot where I get continuous sales day after day. So, like a lot of these things, right? Like FBA, the bigger inventory you have, the more you sell. So you can keep it lean and mean, so to speak, where you can have a lower inventory and higher priced items. But, for eBay, I found that the more I list, the more I sell. I'm halfway to 1,000 listings, a little less than halfway. I'm close, about 400 away. I have just under 600 items on eBay. However, a good amount of those I listed several years ago, and I should probably pull some of those. I should spend a day doing that. But once I do that, then I'll get a better idea of my inventory. But anyway, in his example, he went from doing just FBA to putting a lot of stuff on eBay. But I guarantee you a lot of those books on eBay don't make sense for FBA. It's a different animal. It's different types of books. Yeah. So those are some things to consider if you're considering. Here we go. Pat, how many items do you have listed on eBay? He says, I have an insane amount of listings on eBay, but I love fulfilling orders. I'd ship stuff all day and be happy. Not for everybody. Oh, yeah. I don't mind. You know what's funny? I don't mind shipping, but I don't like listing. And the part of listing that I don't like is actually listing on the computer. The photos, I don't mind so much taking the photos, but it's or even like, resizing the photos within the listing. It's the rest of the listing that I don't like. I don't like that it takes so long to have to input the different information, and it's just not a quick process. So that's one of the downsides for me, and why I've gotten closer and closer to hiring somebody to list on eBay for me in my warehouse, because it's just a longer process that I don't enjoy. And listing on Amazon is not necessarily enjoyable, so to speak, but it's a lot faster. Using the barcode scanner and just having it quickly through AccelerList, because the condition notes are preloaded. Excuse me, everything is already gosh, in place. So once I scan the barcode, it pops into AccelerList, all the information. All I do, because I've already had the condition notes preloaded, if they're all good books, let's say, or all very good, whatever, is I just pop in the price and submit it and move on to the next book. Or CD, same thing with CD, but with eBay, it's a lot longer. Whoa. Pat has 9,000 items. That is impressive. So do you sell just media, Pat, or do you do other stuff too? And how many items a day would you say that you list? And do you store all of this in your home? Like, is it in your garage? Anyway, if you want to answer that, if you don't want to answer it, it's fine. But that's wow. So you must get many sales a day if you have that many items. I remember watching a YouTube channel where this husband and wife, they would post videos where they would just be talking, not even showing their faces. They would just talk, like a podcast, I guess, but they would put it on YouTube, and it was just them. Although they did have somebody who would help them either with listing or shipping, so it's not just them, but they didn't have a big operation, though, I guess is what I'm saying. And they had like a whole shed thing built out where they stored all their items, and they had over 8,000 items, and they would not get a ton of sales a day. Like, they wouldn't get 100 sales a day, but they would get maybe 10 or 12 or 15, and random stuff. They had all types of random stuff listed, things that would sit there for years and then suddenly sell because they had such a big inventory. And I always thought that was crazy. I mean, just crazy in the sense of like, wow, that's so much inventory. I I have 580 or 90 items, and I think that's a lot. But my stuff is small, though. It's mostly CDs, DVDs, audiobooks, software, and books. What else? Yeah, it's a lot of DVDs, a lot of CDs, actually. Pat says, I hate listing too, but I grind it out. No, I get it. I mean, I've got, look at right here, so you can see it. Wow. So that didn't work out. I just wanted to show you. Hold on. You see all those books down there? Those are all books that are photographed, and the photos are in my computer. And I need to list them, but I haven't listed since like Monday because I've been having to do so many other things with FBA shipments and preparing for my local sale that I haven't been able to really dig into it. I listed like 10 or 12 books that I have already put out in the garage. But anyway, it does seem like 75% media. I'm big into disc media, all stored in house. Wow. And so do you find that you get a certain amount of sales per day? Or does it fluctuate, like 10 sales one day, 30 sales the next day, whatever, that type of thing? Because for eBay, for me, it's so all over the place. where FBA is consistently, I make sales every day. I don't make, it does fluctuate in terms of how many sales I get in a day on FBA and for how much money, but I look more at how many sales I'm getting. The amount of money that the sales amount will vary just because, I might sell a $12 book and then I'll sell a $50 book or whatever. So that's going to vary. I'm more interested in how many sales I'm making. So as long as I'm making I always like to make 5 to 10 sales a day on FBA, and I feel good about it. And sometimes it'll be a $50 sales a day in one day, and the next day it'll be $120, and the next day it'll be $80, and the next day it'll be $200, and then it'll be $40. So it'll vary, but as long as I'm selling consistently, there's sales happening, I'm happy. And as long as I keep sending in more books, I'll keep getting more sales. So with eBay, I mean, I remember having a couple hundred and going, gosh, I can't imagine having 500. And now I have 500 listed, and my sales they haven't gone up that much. I'm not getting consistent sales every day. That's the frustrating thing about eBay is, like this person said on Facebook that they have their sweet spot. It's like 1,000 books listed, and they're getting daily sales. I usually get a sale a day on eBay. Usually, like yesterday I got a few. Today I haven't gotten any yet, but of course it's the morning. And sometimes it'll go all day, and then suddenly I'll get a couple in the evening. But it just varies. It's kind of all over the place. Anyway, okay, guys. So today we talked about a variety of things, but talked about the idea of shifting from FBA to Fill by Merchant or eBay, and some considerations for that. I strongly recommend sticking with FBA and just diversifying into other platforms like eBay or avenues like channels like Facebook Marketplace. What am I saying? Like Merchant Fulfilled. So do FBA, Merchant Fulfilled, and eBay, which is what I'm doing. And then also, of course, I have my book sale once a month. But I think diversifying makes more sense than just quitting something to focus on something else. There's always going to be issues. If you give up FBA completely and then just start doing Merchant Fulfilled and eBay, and you're probably going to start thinking, but it was so nice with FBA because I had a couple hundred items there, and I didn't have to store them, I didn't have to ship them, even though it was a headache. And now I have to store 300 books for Merchant Fulfilled, and then another 200 for eBay, and I don't have the room, and then I have to ship every day. So there's advantages and disadvantages to both. You have to take Amazon's nonsense as part of the deal, and they're constantly shifting and changing how they do business, with the benefit of them handling the FBA sales, and that being a legitimate, consistent income. All right. I have gone way over, which is fine because I started a little bit late. And I won't be having don't forget to pull Gone with the Wind. Oh, thank you, Brian. Jeez, every time. Okay, so I'm going to my warehouse this morning. You know what I'm going to do? Gone with the Wind, I'm going to write on a Post-it. I don't even know if I have it. But just in case, so that someone doesn't walk in tomorrow to my sale and go, oh, look, you have Gone with the Wind. I'm glad, for $2, because I can't find it anywhere, and online it's going for $30. So cool. So I put Gone with the Wind on a Post-it on the back of my phone, and I will not forget it. Trust me. It's on my phone. I just been thinking about so many other things. So thanks for reminding me. And maybe I don't even have a copy, but you never know. Yeah. So tomorrow I have my warehouse sale, and Saturday I have my warehouse sale from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., probably a little later, but I have to go in earlier to set everything up. I've got to put signs out on the street. I got to open up my whole thing and put out some tables and set it all up. Although I will be doing a lot of that, some of that today in preparation, putting out more inventory and stuff. But I still have to do some setting up and all that and sweeping and whatnot. So I do have to show up a little bit earlier. So unless I do a 6 a.m. show tomorrow, which I don't think is a good idea for me. So I'm not going to have a show tomorrow or Saturday. And then Sunday will be the big warehouse show bonanza. I don't know what I'm saying. I need to stop the stream. So yeah, so I'll have a show on Sunday. So let's get out of here.
Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. We're gonna strive, we're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, we're flippin' live.
Thanks to everybody who's shown up today to the live show. This was day 46 of Flippin' Live. We've been going live for a month and a half here on my channel, 510 Books, during quarantine. The virus is still out there. People are still getting sick. People are still getting hospitalized. People are still passing away. But things are opening. And I know a lot of us are getting the opportunity to go out there and actually source again consistently. So it's kind of semi-quarantining and semi-opening, reopening certain places throughout the country. I know here in California, a lot of places have opened. So anyway, but we'll continue to do the stream for a while here and see what happens with that. It seems like it's I've wanted the stream to be, interaction and helping each other out and semi-entertainment, but trying to just learn from each other. And I think it's turned into that. And we have some people that show up every day, and some new people as well. So I really appreciate everyone that watches live and those that watch later on as well after it's gone live. So if you can please give it a thumbs up, the video a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. That would be great. So thanks for watching. Keep booking and stay safe. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you Sunday. Thank you. Take care.